Alright, so let's start out here. That's one of your three rami. So when the roots come together and they fuse, they form a spinal nerve. But then immediately you have branches that come off. You have this big one here, these two that are a pair, and this one. So this is dorsal ramus. Dorsal root ganglion, so this is the dorsal side of the cord. So this is going to the dorsal body wall towards your back. Right? It's like this. This one is going forward into the ventral body cavity, that's rami communicantes. So that's going to take you to the viscera. So primarily you've got autonomic going out and visceral sensory coming in. And then what's left is the ventral ramus. And that's going to take care of everything else other than the ventral body cavity and the dorsal body wall. So that means lateral body wall, ventral body wall, upper limbs, lower limbs. And that's why it's so big. So this would be the spinal nerve, and this would be the
ventral root.
And the round thing?
Dorsal root ganglion.
Dorsal root ganglion. How about the two types of axons passing through the dorsal root?
Somatic.
Somatic sensory and visceral sensory. And one of those is going to terminate here, and the other one here. So this is all dorsal horn, but we can split it into two nuclei. What's this one?
Somatic.
Somatic sensory. And here? Visceral sensory. This one?
Lateral horn.
And where do you see lateral horn? What parts of the spinal cord?
Thoracic.
Thoracic and upper lumbar. Thoracolumbar division. And this?
Ventral.
Ventral horn. And the name of the nucleus here in the lateral horn? So here's somatic sensory, visceral sensory. Here's somatic motor, visceral motor. Better term for visceral motor, autonomic. And we can be even more specific than that.
So there's not going to be any visceral.
Both. Visceral sensory is next to visceral motor. Somatic sensory, somatic motor,
But
far
so will
apart.
there not be a visceral motor in the cervical?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. All right, so we can get even more specific than autonomic. What division? Is this all sympathetic or parasympathetic? Sympathetic. Preganglionic or postganglionic cell bodies in here? Is it neuron 1 or neuron 2 in the two neuron chain that gets you to the target? 1. So it's the cell bodies of your preganglionic fibers. And then the axon is going to go out through ventral root. And since it's autonomic motor output, you could go to the ventral body cavity, where most autonomic output goes, to the viscera. But you have blood vessels everywhere. And blood vessels are controlled by autonomic fibers. So you still have to have a way to get to the dorsal body wall and the ventral body wall and the limbs. So they could be going out of any three. Rami communicantes, dorsal ramus, ventral ramus. But it's the second neuron that's going to come out through the dorsal ramus and the ventral ramus. This preganglionic, the one that's coming off of the lateral horn and going through the ventral root, it's always going to go through the white ramus first. And then once it gets out there, they don't have it on there. Let me pull